Hello. So, it is time for week 3 of UBL VGC Season 6. This time, we're up against FistOfYourDoom? FistOfYourDoom and the Super Bash Bros, or, if you would like their full name, let's see if I can get this right without messing this up, it's going to be a nightmare. The Cult of the Mighty Rootin' Tootin' Soul Bash Militia Bros and their evil twins starring Reggie Megalcelix, proud member of the Plant Gang and happily watered in jazzy tears, who is currently being held up by a schlock while his dad drives his brother to safety in the Greninja's Green Hills Zone home, and Almaldo yeets his son Igglybuff to meet them there to save him from Kabutops, who is sniping his manly bits off of everyone in PGB against their will, while his good pal Rufflet tells the victims to cope, cry, and laugh. That is the full team name. But for space, it's just a Super Bash Bros. Because that doesn't fit on the dock, and trying to read that out every time would be a nightmare. So you just get one. This is actually someone who I've seen around quite a bit. I've seen him in Global Serene Cup. I think I've seen him in a couple other places as well. They're certainly around. They're also a really good player. We just haven't had the chance to play, because I think every time we've been in GSC, we've been in the opposite division, or in a different division. And I think every other time that I've tried to join a league, it's just not worked out, because it's me trying to join a league. It never works out. But enough backstory. Their team, you can see on screen, consists of Urshifu, Rapid Strike, Zapdos, Politoed, Klefki, Latios, Tangela, Gothorita, Alolan Persian, Seismitoad, Avalugg, and Rhyhorn. To my knowledge, this is actually one of their first, if not first, VGC leagues, so it's really cool. They actually won week 1, I don't know what happened with week 2, but here we are for week 3. So, it's rain, exemplified by a Politoed, with a Seismitoad, which really helps, it gives you that Swift Swim. Urshifu in rain is disgusting. It hits like an absolute monster truck. Then obviously you've got Zapdos, which is supported because of the Hurricane spam that is potential, as well as just being a really, really good electric type. Latios is really fast, has access to Tailwind. It's an incredible one in draft, honestly. It's something I would have absolutely picked up if I had the opportunity to, but I went with other fast Tailwind users such as Torn. Double Fake Out in the form of Gothorita and Persian Alola. Gothorita as well being able to trap things, and not allow them to, get out. Tangela for Rage Powder and Redirection, though I'm not really too afraid of Tangela here. Klefki, really annoying. Captain caused some issues for my team. Avalugg is slower than my... It's not slower than Gigalith, but it's slower than Appleton. So I guess that's a thing, but I don't expect it, and then Rhyhorn is just there. We do have a weather war here. Not surprising to happen. I think there's 2 rain, 1 hail, 1 sun in this league, so weather wars were gonna happen. In fact, I think their week 1, which I did watch the replay for, was actually a rain mirror. They both had rain, so yeah. But we got some interesting talk, and I'm actually quite proud of this team. I didn't take too long making it, so I might make some adjustments if I think on it a little bit. We've got a couple of days. I'm actually recording the team builder early for once. Something stuck out to me. And that in my eyes, there is one Pokemon on the team that is actually a problem, and that is Zapdos. Zapdos is quite scary. Now you may be like, well, you've got Sand. Why are you afraid of Zapdos? Well, because every other Pokemon on their team loses to Appleton, baby! The apple's back. Klefki's a little bit of an issue as well, but Excadrill stops that as well. Appleton goes in here, and we're going with Appleton sweep. So let me talk to you about some beautiful things about Appleton. First of all, obviously we're Life Orb, which means we've got Thick Fat, which means we're not completely just dying twice. We're only times 2 weak twice instead of times 4, meaning our reasonable bulk will actually stick. Energy Ball, Dragon Pulse, Draco Meteor as well, and Protect. Protect obviously just really nice, you know, other than Urshifu just existing, because Urshifu just likes to exist. Energy Ball, that's taken out Urshifu, no questions asked. Politoed, barely any chance of it living. It has to be really bulky to live an Energy Ball from Appleton. Dragon Pulse is there for just general hitting things. It hits a lot of things really nicely. It's going to kill Latios, and do generally good damage. Draco, on the other hand, is actually going to be there to pick up any KOs that are absolutely needed. I ideally don't want to Draco, but for, say, things like Zapdos, which is in, and they want to try and take me out, we've got the Draco if we need it. It does like 73% to bulky Zapdos, which, you know, picking up a bit of slack from the other members of the team, because it's not like the other members of the team do not do damage. We can really make use of Appleton here. I think it actually will be one of the stars of the show. Next up, Excadrill, and this is another weird one. We're Scarf Excadrill. I don't want to have to rely on Sand in this matchup, so we're Scarf Sand Force. Scarf Sand Force means we still bluff Sand. We can't hit Latios, but that's why we're also carrying X-Scissor. I want to at least bluff the Sand here and make them think that we're going Sand, but we're not. Sand Force means that in Sand we actually do get a bit of a power buff. We've got High Horsepower Rock Slide Bulldoze as an extra form of speed control, because other than Excadrill, our only really fast Pokemon is Koko, otherwise we're really hard leaning into Trick Room. So Bulldoze will help. Even just a couple speed drops will help put things in range for us. And as I said, we've got the X's for the Latios. Truth be told, I'm not really expecting Latios. I think my team does very well into Latios. And plus I have even still, I'm bringing a multitude of Pokemon that do well into Latios. Appleton in Trick Room kills Latios. Scrafty does insanely well into Latios. Slowking does very well into Latios. I may actually change a quick move on Scrafty just to make sure we do well into Latios, to be fair, because might be missing a move. But yeah, Scarf Drill, gonna hopefully put in a lot of work, and hopefully basically just say, no Zapdos, no. Especially if it's setting up Rain as well, Heat Waves aren't gonna do that much damage. So, and also with the bulk that we have, we actually live Banded Aqua Jet as well from Urshifu, and able to still go Adamant Max Attack. So we still have good damage, it's just not like Life Orb damage. The Adamant Max Attack will still do really good damage, just like 40% to non-bulky Zapdos, I think it is. Or even bulky Zapdos, I don't remember. So, but yeah. Scarf Drill, I think, has the potential to do a lot of work here. Next up, obviously, Gigalith. We are Weakness Policy with Explosion. We've got enough bulk that we can take... what was it? I think it was Urshifu, right? I think it was Urshifu. So we take an Urshifu hit, not in Rain. We're not taking it in Rain, but also we're setting up Sand, so we shouldn't really be worrying about Rain too much. We can take Urshifu's Surging Strike in Rain. Not in Rain. You get what I mean. We can live an Urshifu hit, provided it's not boosted. Rock Slide, Stomping Tantrum, Explosion, and Protect. Explosion, I think, is actually going to be pretty nice here for helping just getting Gigalith out. Gigalith is here to set Sand and just get out. We've got the Weakness Policy as well. There's a multitude of things that are going to try and kill this Gigalith, and if we get a Weakness Policy hit, you know, a Weakness Policy Rock Slide, or a Weakness Policy Stomping Tantrum into things like that Klefki, or a Weakness Policy Explosion, we're doing big damage and making sure we can chip things down for things like an Excadrill with Rock Slide sweeping up, Koko can sweep up here, Appleton if you know if Trick Room is up, because we are actually quite slow. If you notice, we're actually 1 point faster than our Appleton. That's to make sure we can break any sashes if need be with Rock Slide or Stomping Tantrum or even Explosion. Although if I'm exploding, I'm probably protecting with Appleton. So, Gigalith actually has a lot of potential utility, but I don't expect it to come. If I feel like I need to slow down Rain in other ways, then we can, but we are looking to go Trick Room here. Speaking of Trick Room, say hello to Scrafty. We are quite specially defensive here. Fake Out, Rock Slide, Quick Guard, and Snarl. I actually think I am going to keep Snarl. It's my Dark type move of choice. Good into Latios, good into Zapdos, funnily enough. Quick Guard helps us against Klefki as well, which is kind of the main reason why it's here, and we're mostly special defensive. The special defense gives us the best chance we've got to live, like, Zapdos Hurricanes. We also get 2-hit KO'd most of the time. We should get to, unless we get really unlucky, we get 2-hit KO'd by Klefki, and by that I mean Klefki can do like 47% into 56%, and that would kind of suck because then our Citrus Berry doesn't proc. But we can't afford to drop the special defense. We're also running a bit of extra speed just in case the Gothorita wants to go a bit faster. I expect the Gothorita to be a bit bulkier, but we'll see. Fake Out, Rock Slide, Quick Guard, Snarl with the Citrus. The Intimidate's also going to really help against things that just aren't named Urshifu. Or, you know, slow down the close combats that actually want to hurt me. If it's a physical Seismitoad as well, that would also be helpful to slow down. Avalugg, if it wants to come. I don't expect Avalugg, to be quite honest, but again, we have a Gigalith who is really slow. Not slower than Avalugg, but yeah. Scrafty is going to be probably a Pokemon I can see myself bringing to this match. Next up, supposed to be in alphabetical order, so we'll skip Tapu Koko for now. Slowking, we are Wakanberry. This set actually, because of the Wakanberry, this set actually is insane. Foul Play from Persian, plus a modest Life Orb Thunderbolt does not kill the Slowking. So turn 1, if against Persian Zapdos, we can double protect, or just Fake Out protect, because we don't have protect on Scrafty. But we can go for Fake Out Trick Room, and we can guaranteed live. We can Fake Out the Zapdos, Scrafty, and then if they Fake Out the Slowking, cool, whatever. If they Fake Out Scrafty, then cool, whatever. If they don't Fake Out Scrafty, then, you know, really good. We can get out a Trick Room. And it's not like Scrafty's not doing anything, it's still firing off reasonably powerful Rock Slides, and Slowking itself actually has a reasonable amount of offense. We're carrying Muddy Water, Ice Beam. Ice Beam mainly for the Zapdos. We're doing about 40-ish% with Ice Beam, which means other Pokemon, things like Appleton, can pick up the KO. We're also Oblivious here. Oblivious is obviously great, because that means just anything with Taunt just can't taunt Slowking, and that's why I like it as a Trick Room setter. It doesn't get the best support moves, but the ability to just not have to worry about Taunt means we can run this Wakanberry very, very freely here. Muddy Water is just going to pick up reasonable damage, especially if the rain is up. So, yeah, Slowking I think can do a lot of work here. And last but not least, Tapu Koko. This set's nuts. Koko's busted. Alright? This lives a Seismitoad, and this lives Seismitoad Earth Power. Modest Life Orb, Seismitoad, Earth Power. Koko can live it. With the HP investment that we were able to get away with. The special attack is so that Volt Switch KOs Urshifu. Enough speed to outspeed Persian, the fastest Pokemon on the team. And then we've got Volt Switch, Electro Web, great to slow down their team again. Really nice just in general. A lot of our team isn't that fast, but slowing it down, like, we will need a couple of speed drops, but also just being able to slow it down is quite nice. Dazzling Gleam, really good into a lot of Pokemon, and also just great chip in general. Again, a lot of things are just going to be, double spread move is going to take things out, or just enough chip from one thing is going to do enough to make it so the other Pokemon can take it out. And then Grass Knot obviously will just destroy the Seismitoad. As an option. But Koko is able to pivot in and out because of that Volt Switch really, really nicely. Get out into some of the bulkier pieces, things like Gigalith or Scrafty, or even get into our Slowking for the late game. If I see there's a potential, like, I can very much see myself leading Koko Excadrill. And if that's the case, we can have Koko Excadrill and then have Slowking Appleton in the back as our Trick Room setter, Trick Room sweeper. So, the temptation to, like, not run max speed Excadrill is, like, really there. Oh, sorry, not run a Scarf Excadrill, just because I have multiple forms of speed control. But I don't want to have to rely on that speed control. I want to make sure that Excadrill can just outspeed things. Coco's going to do really well here, I think, as well. I was really tempted to bring Taunt, I was tempted to bring Dracovish, but I think that the ability to go Trick Room here with Appleton is actually really, really strong. I think Appleton's something they have to respect. And if they put too much pressure on trying to kill Appleton, then I think Coco and Excadrill do insanely well. And these two leading with Slowking Appleton in the back, I think will do really, really well. We also have the potential to lead Scrafty with Coco, get that fake out pressure and Volt Switch out, or just do really good damage, because Coco still does insane damage, and we can able to pivot out really, really easily. So, yeah, like, I think this team is probably one of my favorites that I've made so far. I've actually, like, put some thought into it, and I thought, wait a minute, Appleton's really good, and there's, like, trying to build around Appleton from there, because Appleton is the planned late-game sweeper. Heck, even early-game sweeper, if we get it in right. There's potential for us to just lead Scrafty Appleton. If I see no fake out, then I'm doing it. I'm leading Scrafty. We can't lead Scrafty Appleton. Scrafty Slowking. If we see no, there's potential for us to just go full in on Trick Room, with like Coco in the back or Excadrill in the back, just to make sure. Or even a Gale Lift. We can just go full in on Trick Room. Maybe just have Excadrill in the back just to make sure. But yeah, I fully expect Trick Room to actually be the game plan here. Which is really, really cool. So. I didn't think my Trick Room mode was actually something I could rely on that much, but it's actually really solid here, so we just got to make sure that Zapdos is not a problem, and if so, Appleton wins. So I said this last time, hopefully it can actually come true this time, because I'm actually giving Appleton the right support, I think, this time. So right, I will see you guys for the actual match. That's a long team builder, so. Right, I'll see you guys for the matches in a couple of days, and I'll let you know if I do decide on making any changes. I should mention as well about the Slowking speed. We're actually faster than Appleton again, just to make sure we can break any sashes and things like that. So, anyway, I'll see you guys for the match. And we are back for, unfortunately, a post-commentary match, but I kind of screwed up with a lot of things this week. So, let me turn this down slightly. There we go. So I messed up with a ton of scheduling this week, and as a result, like, I actually didn't know if I would be playing my opponent. But Vist was very kind to actually play, and were actually available at, an actually a reasonable time. So, we've got game 1 here. I don't want to spoil how many games it is, so we've only got game 1 up, and we'll open up the following games as they are suit. The notable things that are here, though, so we see their team. They have brought Politoed, Tangler, Seismitoad, Urshifu, Rapid Strike, Rhyhorn, and Klefki. So, I didn't think about Rhyhorn, and I kind of looked at it at Team Preview and went, why is Rhyhorn here? And then I looked at my Coco and went, that's why the Rhyhorn's here. It is for a form of redirection against the Tapu Koko. So, because of its access to Lightning Rod. The other thing to note here is there is no Zapdos, and there's not even a Latios. The only thing that can really affect me is Klefki. So, I'm like, well, Appleton's going in then. The apple's coming out. So, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to be leading Scrafty Slowking here with Appleton, and actually going with Coco in the back to make sure I have something fast in the back. So we'll have something faster than Urshifu, pretty much faster than everything on their team, except Seismitoad and Rain, or any Scarfers that are kind of being thrown around. Maybe a Scarf Urshifu. So, we see in my lead, we see Scrafty Slowking, and they lead Urshifu Tangler. So we get the Intimidate down. Somewhat relevant here, surprisingly, just because of Scrafty. So, it means that close combats are going to do less damage to Scrafty, which is quite nice. But yes, the Tangler is actually more of the threat here, because it actually will do a good amount of damage to Slowking. The Urshifu, especially because of the Intimidate, I'm really not scared of it, so... they're actually going to switch out the Urshifu as I fake out the Tangler and get up my Trick Room immediately. As they bring in the Politoed over the Urshifu. So clearly they just didn't want to let it stay in. Maybe they wanted to just preserve it. If they're expecting Trick Room here and they don't think they can deny it for sure, I can definitely see them just wanting to save the Urshifu for post Trick Room, because obviously, like, especially like Slowking likely has something to hit the Urshifu. Scrafty's gonna just do reasonable damage, and Politoed's a bit slower and bulky and probably survive the Trick Room. So, as for me, obviously I don't have my Trick Room Sweeper in, but I do have some reasonable damage output from Slowking, and something else that becomes pretty big in this set. So we get the Rain, I go for the Ice Beam into the Tangler and actually do a ton of damage, and I go for the Snarl here. Snarl was big this set. Dropping the Tangler's special attack here is really nice, because it means my Slowking is going to take much less damage. As you can see, I only take 27% from that Energy Ball. And then we see the Muddy Water come out from the Politoed. Not even doing that much damage, even to Scrafty, who doesn't even resist it, and then in the Rain. So, we do see the accuracy drop on the Slowking, and I'm like, well, that sucks. But to be fair, the Politoed is also at -1 due to the Snarl. Well, I'm like, well, we got the damage on the Tangler that I needed. I needed to make sure I got enough damage on the Tangler to make sure that I didn't have to go for a Draco on the Tangler. I could just go for a Dragon Pulse. But to be fair, looking at that, I was more confident I was more likely physically defensive anyway, so, rather than specially defensive, because that did not take an Ice Beam very well. So, because I feel fairly safe, I'm actually going to go for the switch here on the Slowking side to bring in Appleton, as they bring in Seismitoad, and I go for another Snarl. That turned out to be an amazing switch on my end. Not what I expected, but they also wanted to preserve the Tangler. They obviously have Regenerator, because, I mean, what other ability you bring in here? So they can preserve the Tangler, get a bit more HP on it, and bring in the Seismitoad. Even though Rain is up, it's not like it's being threatened. So it's like, Rain is up, which means it's, I guess, bad for it, because it means it's moving last. But nothing's really offensively threatening it. But we do get the Snarl off, lowering the special attack of this Politoed even more. And, well, I got in my Appleton for free. It takes a Muddy Water here, and we do get the accuracy drop on us. That's a little scary. And I was like, that's super unfortunate. I really didn't want to see that accuracy drop there. This would have obviously been super, super ideal, but we don't get it. So I'm like, well, may as well go for it, because Seismitoad looks to be the biggest remaining threat on their team. I know Energy Ball is going to kill, there's no way it doesn't kill. And Scrafty, while hasn't really put on a lot of offensive pressure, has just been really nice whittling things, making it so that things just aren't doing damage to me. So, I go for the Energy Ball here. They do actually have the Rindo, but they still go down. We take the Life Orb here, and I've actually run the calc at this point, even if I don't remember, I think they did post their sets. But, yeah, let me see if we can find the sets, because I think they did post them? Maybe not. Maybe I'm imagining things. Yeah, I don't think they actually posted their sets. But I calced it, and even max HP Seismitoad wasn't living, with the Rindo Berry. So, yeah, like, that Rindo Berry was more so for things like a Cocoa Grass Knot, if anything. Or just like, you know, a not as powerful Energy Ball as this one. This one's just as offensive as you can get without being choice specs. So, also able to Snarl down. We do miss here. That miss actually comes into play a little bit here in a sec, but you'll see why. We get Ice Beam, they actually do reveal the Ice Beam at last on the Politoed, but because we are thick fat, we don't take too much from that, and also it's at -2. Would be at -3 with the Snarl. So here I go for a switch into Coco because I realize it's the last turn of Trick Room. I realize it's probably a safe switch for me to go into Coco, and we try and go for the Dragon Pulse anyway into Tangler. I wanted to reposition for outside of Trick Room because obviously Crafty Snarling is great and all, but it's also not doing it faster than anything once Trick Room ends. It also helps Scout out if it protects, but also Appleton wasn't exactly being threatened, especially in the last turn of Trick Room. So we were able to get into Coco for free here, as they just double protect to start the last turn. Appleton's still in here, able to launch at least one more big hit, potentially 2. And Coco's also here to outspeed their entire team. So, able to Volt Switch, do a good amount of damage to that Politoed as they switch on out. As we get to switch on out, go back into Scrafty, giving us fake out pressure. They go for the Muddy Water and go for the Sludge Bomb, but we do live with Appleton here, able to take down the Tangler, but also go down ourselves. That's where the Snarl matters. If the Snarl was if Snarl connected on that Politoed, Appleton would have actually lived another turn, which is kind of a big deal here. We would have gotten a lift, and that meant they would have had to put at least some pressure on Appleton. Even if it was just Muddy Water, that's like not the end of the world, because there's a good chance we actually are we can actually fake out the Politoed here. But instead, we actually get some. Appleton goes down, but we at least take out the Tangler, and we actually wanted the Tangler gone mostly because it allows Coco to come in here and just do work. So Coco's able to come in here, so I'm like, cool, well, I know Politoed has Protect, but I don't know if Urshifu has Protect, and if they're going to reveal Protect, they're going to reveal it right now, so I may as well go for it. So we go for the Fake Out, they don't Protect with the Politoed, and you also see there that they actually outsped us. That means they actually scarfed Urshifu, which also makes sense why they didn't Protect, or Detect. So they're actually scarf Urshifu, and that is good to know, which means, first of all, like, it can't Protect, but also that means that my Coco is not 100% safe against this Urshifu, so I do have to be careful with that in the future. But we're able to Volt Switch on out here, go into Slowking, as they go for a Scald, just trying to catch my my Coco, and I decide to speed this up. I go back into Coco here. We do get accuracy dropped. They see the Citrus Berry on Scrafty. That was going to happen regardless, unfortunately. And they say here GG, but they did not have confidence in this matchup. As you can see, we're just missing Volt Switches here because I could not hit a Volt Switch to save my life. I was like, I could still lose this, which is so annoying. Not really, because like the Scrafty's just doing a thing. Like GG maybe if I can hit, and then yeah, we get the hit after, what was that, 1, 2, 2 Volt Switch misses. So thankfully it didn't end up mattering. I only brought in Coco to kind of help speed up the game. So, but that was game 1. That went really well for us. Appleton put in a ton of work, actually got 2 KOs there, and Coco kind of helped clean up the rest, which was really, really nice. So, let me get up game 2 now. So, game 2. Let me just do the following, and here we go. So, game 2. I think, okay, I have no reason to change my game plan here. I need to see their adaptation. Because even Klefki, which is the only way that I've seen them to really answer the Appleton, is not going to do it in Trick Room. So I figured I want to see their adaptation. So I just leave the same, and they actually lead the Rhyhorn with the Tangler this time. I'm like, alright, that's interesting. I'm like, well, I still feel like the Tangler is the bigger threat here, so I'm just going to fake out the Tangler again. I go for it, they go for something, and they actually go for Mega Horn here. It does matter. I don't think in the long run, I think I still could have won this game very much, even if that Mega Horn hit. We do actually get to see how much the Mega Horn does, spoilers, in a little bit. And we'll get to the point in which the Mega Horn miss does matter, but we were going to live. It just would have done a lot of damage and definitely made Slowking less of a factor in this game. But obviously the Mega Horn miss sucks. Rhyhorn, a 1-point Pokemon, which, you know, getting value on your 1-point Pokemon is always really good. And the fact that it actually could have done really well here really sucks. Especially because if you notice, it's actually slower than, like, my entire Trick Room mode. So I was actually a little bit scared after the Mega Horn miss if they were min speed here. So, but we see turn 2, I go for the Muddy Water, kind of plays around Rage Powder as well. We get a crit on the Tangler. I don't think that ends up mattering. I don't think. And we get an accuracy drop, which that one definitely didn't matter because they didn't miss. And again, we get to Snarl here and do really well. So, we do see them be Sash here on the Rhyhorn, as we go for another Muddy Water. Again, kind of get things chipped down. Obviously, it makes sense for them to be Sash. It's not like an Eviolite was helping them, and also the Eviolite's on Tangler, so yeah, Sash just makes perfect sense here. Again, accuracy drops, which they actually hit through the accuracy drop, but not the regular one, and you get to see it just 46%. So with some rolls, it technically could have 2-hit KO'd. But yeah, it definitely would have put Slowking a lot more out of commission. It would have died here for sure. I would have maybe played a bit differently, I guess. Maybe? I don't know. I think I still would have gone for this play. I said Slowking would be down here for sure. Because we would take out the Rhyhorn here, get the Snarl off, get into the thing. But, yeah, so Slowking actually lives. I forgot about that. Slowking lives because of the extra Snarl there. So Slowking actually still has 1 HP to still go for the next hit. Something it wouldn't have had otherwise. It gets to, it's, you know, now it's got Rain Boosted Muddy Waters, or just Ice Beam into the Tangler here. And Scrafty, if you notice, Snarls have been putting in work. They didn't bring the Klefki, no, but the Snarls have been putting in work. Well, we haven't seen Klefki yet, but seeing we've seen the Politoed here, as a good assumption that the Seismitoad's in the back, or the Urshifu, but I would assume Seismitoad. But Slowking living on 1 here, with all the Snarls, and especially that miss, which was really unfortunate, it means that Slowking actually still gets to hang around. So, we go for the Ice Beam, just play it safe here. I know Slowking isn't really long for this world, so there's arguability that, like, actually dying there would have been better, because then I would have got 2 turns of Trick Room with Appleton. So maybe it's arguable, but I still think the mid matters. But we do get a turn with Appleton, and here I call the Protect. I saw that Tangler protected last turn. I figured it's a very safe Dragon Pulse here into the Tangler, and once again I brought Coco in the back, so I want the Tangler gone. So they try and make sure that the Politoed is safe, and you know it's not. Well, it is safe, but the Tangler was not. And so, Scrafty and Appleton are on the field, and they bring in the Seismitoad waiting in the back, so. But Trick Room is now over, so now we've got some mind games going on. So, we don't know what kind of Seismitoad this is, but regardless, it's going to have something to hit my Appleton. Whether it's, you know, Ice Beam or Ice Punch, at least. Scrafty and Appleton have to do some work here. So I'm going to protect first off, as they go for the Sludge Bomb. There's the offensive move for choice, and they actually double up into Appleton as I go for the Snarl here. Once again, Snarl Scrafty put in so much work here. I think I said this, I didn't say it because I didn't record it, but yeah. Snarl Scrafty put in so much work this set. Granted, Muddy Water wouldn't have done that, like, much to Scrafty. I think we saw in the past it did like 20%. So, but yeah, like Appleton just, it's solely safe, and we just get to go for the Snarl and weaken the damage output of notably the Seismitoad. So I'm like, cool, I've protected now, I may as well go for the hit. They ice beam me, and I'm like, alright, well, so I'm like, well, that sucks. But I should have expected it. But I just go for a snarl anyway, why not? Drop the special attack even more, go for the energy ball, see if I can get it, and you know, whatever. I'm like, alright, well, we keep playing this protect game. This time I'm going to make the aggressive move. So, they go for the Sludge Bomb, and they go for the Ice Beam, and we actually live. I had a feeling we would live. Granted, we hadn't seen the damage output of the Seismitoad, but obviously knowing it wasn't Life Orb, and no stab, it was just a Sludge Bomb, at -1. And we saw them, it was at -2, so -3 on the Politoad. I thought, there's no way this kills. And I figured there was a good chance that they would try and target the Scrafty anyway. Because I protected last time, and I was like trying to stall out rain turns, which granted doesn't really help, but like, I didn't want to play the protect game any longer. But the fact that we do live here is a big deal, and we actually get the energy ball off and take out the Seismitoad, leaving just this Politoad with no rain at all. Appleton dies twice to its own Life Orb, which is kind of funny. Appleton only dies to itself and the orb that it holds. But we have Coco in the back, and yeah, we've just got Coco in the back, and that's really it. They actually missed their first Muddy Water here. Their first Muddy Water actually missed overall, because obviously I went for 1 as well. Maybe even 2, I don't remember. But yeah, that takes up the Politoad. And that is it. So, great games to Fist. We do win this 2-0. And Appleton put in a good amount of work. Coco put in a good amount of work. Obviously, like my water and my electric type, obviously putting in work against rain. But Seismitoad is a scary Pokemon. Granted, we never got the interaction between Seismitoad and Coco, so my Assault Vest actually never came into play, like, at all. Other than when I was taking Muddy Water hits at the end of the first game. But yeah. Snarl, Scrafty was the MVP. Despite Coco and Appleton really putting in a lot of offensive pressure, Snarl Scrafty just gave my team so much more extra survivability that it really had no reason to have. Like, Appleton probably should have died way earlier. Slowking would have died way earlier. But because of the Snarls, we were just able to just kind of whittle down the team. I think bringing Klefki may have actually been the play. It certainly would have forced me to adapt a bit and actually probably bring Excadrill instead of Coco, to make sure I could actually have something to beat the Klefki. But obviously, do you really want to bring Klefki into a team which can just go Gigalith Excadrill? It's a really scary one, so I completely understand them not bringing it, but at the same time, like, yeah, Scrafty put in too much work this game. Scrafty put in an insane amount of work this game. This whole set with Snarl, it literally clicked Fake Out and Snarl and didn't do anything else. And that was good enough for it to just be worth the points that it was. So, and obviously Coco is amazing. Coco is just always amazing. And Appleton has now come twice, but also actually got some work done this time. Appleton really put in some work. So, really, really happy to see the boy put in some work. And I'm quite growing to like Appleton. I'm not gonna lie, it's really cool. So. But that's going to do it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.